through this.
Oh, sorry.
It'll be as interactive. It's fine. It'll be interactive. So if you have questions, just stop me throughout. We're a small group, so I think we'll be able to get through everything today. Um, and let's see. Let me know if you can see my screen. You should be seeing the Mastering Your Job Search, Proven Strategies for Success. Perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Okay, okay, awesome. So hold on a second on my end. Okay, got it. Uh, oh, did it switch on your end?
Nope.
Why not?
Can I say something?
Yes, of course.
We usually start with prayer. Is it if is it okay?
Griselda, I am so sorry. Yes, I'm so sorry. That's perfect. Griselda, would you go ahead and open us in prayer?
Yes. In the name
Okay.
of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for bringing us together. Gracious in all you do, loving us as much as you do. Open our hearts, guide our minds. Let our eyes and ears and heart see your path as we come together to listen to Rock. We love you very much. Thank you so much. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
All right. Thank you, Griselda. So sorry about that. All right, Rock, we're ready.
Okay, great. So today what I'm going to cover is, and I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time seeing this on my screen. So let me make an adjustment here.
We have your agenda up.
Okay, great. You can see that. Okay.
Yeah.
What I want to cover today is networking, which is really important. That's the first thing that we'll talk through. We'll take a look at your resume and tailoring the resume for the job. We'll talk about some job boards that are out there and those that you're familiar with and some that you may not know about. We'll touch on how to enhance your online presence and a bit about certifications. And then finally, we'll talk about reaching out to recruiters and the most important piece of this, which I think is the interview preparation. So the first thing is, how did I get here? If you're new to the job search process, you may have gotten here through maybe a reduction in force at your company. You may have been laid off. There may have been a buyout of some sort or an acquisition. Whatever the reason is that you find yourself looking for a role, what's important is that you sit in and go through those stages of grief. Because anytime that something ends, right, we have to go through the process of grieving, being sad about what's ended, and maybe we're angry because this feels like it's unfair or you're worried about it. So it's perfectly okay to fit in on those feelings. In fact, you need to do that first and get to a place where you can put it behind you, you can accept what's happened so that you can move forward. Until you do that, whenever you talk to people, whenever you interview, if you're still holding on to that anger, that resentment, or that sadness of that loss of job, it will come out and it's going to affect your performance. So sit in your feelings, how did I get here? And just be, and it's okay to sit there. So, and that may be, different for everybody. It may take a week, it may take longer. But just recognize that it is totally fine for you to kind of sit there and just be. So networking. Networking is super important, and it's the first thing that I have listed here, because most jobs are filled through referrals and connections. It's going to be really important for you to leverage LinkedIn. And as you go through this job process, that's the number one place people look for jobs, right? Is LinkedIn. There are other places as well, but you want to leverage LinkedIn as you go through this. You want to build a professional profile. You want to connect with other people that are in your industry, whether that's marketing or project management, finance, whatever it is, procurement. You want to connect with people that are in that industry. As part of that, you want to attend industry events, whether they're conferences that are low cost or whether they're webinars that are free on LinkedIn. There's always something going on that you can plug into that has to do with the job that you're seeking. And lastly, you want to reach out to your contacts. You want to reach out to folks that maybe you worked with in a prior role. Isabel, you mentioned that you've got missionary work that you've done in the past. So keeping that network intact and being able to reach out to people that you knew, even if it was not in the area that you're trying to go into now, you never know what people know about in terms of jobs, in terms of opportunities and other contacts that could help you. So how do you network? Well, this is probably one of the most uncomfortable things for people to do is really network, and it takes you out of your comfort zone, but there is a method to being able to reach out to people and get more comfortable with it. So I've got a couple of things on the screen. The first is that you want to ask people for the time. It can be something that you reach out to in an email to someone or a LinkedIn message that says, would you be willing to spend 30 minutes with me talking to me about the company and what their whatever function is like? So if you're in HR, what their HR function is like, or what their sales operations are like. So ask for the time when you reach out to people, and I've got a sample script here that you can use. The next thing is an informational interview, and the word interview can be a little scary. So if you think about this as an informational coffee or an informational meet and greet or a chat with someone, the whole point of this conversation with your person that you've networked with is really just to learn about them. It's not to ask for a position. It's not to ask for a referral. It's not to ask for a job. It's about learning who the person is, find out about the company. What is the culture like? What has their experience been being in that role within that company? And this does two things, right? It kind of reduces that expectation that that person may have and makes them feel like, okay, this is something that's non-threatening that I could do. I can talk about myself and I can talk about the company. So you want to set the person that you're reaching out to at ease because you're coming in as that person needing that help. The last thing is you want to continue to follow up and stay connected with that person. So once you've met with a person that you're networking with, you want to make sure that you create an Excel spreadsheet for yourself that you can track when you talk to them. So if I have a meeting with Griselda tomorrow, and we have a conversation about what she wants to do next, and I've got this amazing job that she wants to move into in this career pivot, she'll want to keep track of the last time we spoke and set up another time for herself, whether that's a week out, 2 weeks out, a month, whatever she feels that she can commit to and do. That's going to keep that network intact and that conversation going. So feel free to stop me if you all have any questions.
I can't remember which one of these I was listening to with Tracy, but someone said the best thing you can do is always have a follow-up, the follow-up meeting, make sure that you're keeping that interaction open.
Yes, absolutely. I completely agree. So the next thing is to tailor your resume. You want to make sure that on top of the networking, that's the first step, right? And you're going to spend the majority of your time in the networking space. The reason for that is because 85% of jobs are found through networking, and 70% of jobs are never even advertised. So, you think about the last place that you worked at a company, when there was an opening, what's one of the first things that happens? You'll get an email from your team, your boss saying, hey, we've got an opening coming up on this team. If anyone knows of anyone who's interested. So it's all word of mouth. And without you making those connections, you're missing out on a lot of job opportunities that are out there for you. So tailoring your resume, you want to customize the resume for each job. Make sure that the resume that you have has the keywords and the job that match the job description, as well as that your accomplishments match the job requirements. So you want to tailor that as much as you can. And the way you want to do that is you can use ChatGPT. You can go through and run through ChatGPT and have it compare your resume against a job description. And we'll look at something I use a little bit later here. Has anyone used ChatGPT in their job search? Yep.
Yes.
Awesome. Perfect. So that's great because you know exactly, how to be able to do that. You want to use results-oriented language with your bullets. Again, nothing earth-shattering or new, but as long as you can customize your accomplishments and show the results, then that's going to tell a potential employer of what you can accomplish and the impact that you can have on the business. Writing a compelling cover letter is also part of how you show up and getting that job opportunity. You want to demonstrate that you're a good fit for the company and for the position. Not every role is going to ask for a cover letter, and I will be completely honest with you, recruiters don't always have time to read the cover letter, especially if it's a large company such as like a JP Morgan Chase or an AT&T. The recruiters are so busy that they probably spend 10 seconds on your resume. So if it's a smaller company, I would say you have a bigger chance of having your cover letter read, but you always have to look at the requirements. If when you're going through and applying, it says, add cover letter here, or there's another box for a cover letter, write a cover letter. It's only going to help you stand out. So one of the things that I use to personalize my resume is a software called Teal. And this is an example from Teal. Teal they have a free way to use Teal. You can use it for free for 5 resumes, or you can pay a subscription. It's $29 a month. but I really like how Teal can take all of your resumes and it can personalize it. So here on the screen, you can see that the hard skills that are identified in the job are in green, and you can see how many times those skills appear. So in this job for an HR administrator in San Antonio, the word events comes up 4 times, new hires 3, purchasing 3. And then you have your soft skills that the job is looking for, and those are listed in blue. So Teal does a really good job of telling you, here are the skills for the job, here's the hard skills that they're looking for, here's the soft skills, and here's where you have them or you don't have them in your resume. So Teal also gives you, you can see kind of the breadcrumbing across the top. It tells you, oh, you bookmarked this job, you're in the process of applying, you applied, you're interviewing, all the way to the offer acceptance. So it's a nice thing that lets you track easily, because once you use Teal to put your resume together and apply for the job, Teal keeps track of all of that for you. And as you apply and as you go through the job search process, it's hard to remember everything that you've done and where you're at in terms of the process of finding a job. So this is a really good tool. I feel it's worth spending the $29. And then because Teal is, for the most part, relatively new, they continue to have more enhancements that are only going to benefit you as a job seeker.
Glad you shared that, Ross. I have 3 children also, so I'm gonna make sure that they use that. That's a great program.
Yes, it really is. It really is. So when you look at job boards and company websites, though there are the top job boards that we're all aware of: LinkedIn, Indeed, Glassdoor. If you're in the tech space, there's also niche sites that are specific to the tech industry, like Dice. If you're looking for jobs with the federal government, there's also usajobs.gov. If you're looking for government jobs, there's governmentjobs.com. There's also, if you have any affinity groups that you're a part of, maybe the marketing association, or from your college, Texas Tech Alumni Association, those are also places that you want to go and be a part of, because they will more than likely have a job board that you can access by joining the group. In addition to that, you want to set up alerts with the companies that you're targeting. Automated job alerts let you know when there's new opportunities as soon as they're posted. And it kind of lets you know right away so that you can be there ready to apply for those jobs before everyone else does. You also want to periodically check the company career website pages. They'll put jobs out there on a regular basis as soon as those are available. So make sure you make it a practice to go to the companies that you want to work with and check their career pages on their website. Sorry, go ahead. Okay. So as part of your online presence on LinkedIn, you want to be able to optimize your portfolio, your profile, with whatever your latest skills are and your career interests. And I've got some samples that we will look at here in a second. Um, if you are, again, in the tech space or in the creative area, you'll want to have an online portfolio to showcase the kind of work that you can do. Um, for example, if you create content as a writer, you'll want to have samples of your writing. If you do marketing, there might be samples of content that you put together to market a certain product or a service. Same thing for technical roles as well. As part of your LinkedIn profile optimization, you want to make sure that you like, that you share, that you repost, and that you follow the companies that you're interested in working for. And whenever you share and you follow or repost or comment on someone's article, that only increases your visibility on LinkedIn because it shows that you're an active user. So you come up in terms of the search results as an active user. There are ways that you could engage with online communities. So again, if there are certain forums, maybe you're in project management and you can join a project management group. When you're there, comment and follow up on what they're saying, reposting, all of that is going to get you more visibility on LinkedIn. And then the last one is social media cleanup. So you want to make sure that your profiles in whatever social media you use reflect a professional image of yourself. So, things like having a good picture out there, it doesn't have to be expensive or fancy, having a professional picture, making sure that your email is an appropriate email, all of that is good to have so that your presence that comes across as a professional person who a company would want to hire. So here's an example from my LinkedIn profile. I've highlighted just a couple of things. When the banner behind you should reflect kind of who you are. It's one of the things that people see when they first come to your profile page. So you can use things like Canva, which is free to design your own banner. LinkedIn has a few banner options, but Canva has a lot more. You can even customize it yourself. So this is something that I put together. My intent was to say that I'm a connector. I've got connections across the country. The hands on the right are meant to tell you that I'm a team player, that I, offer one for all mentality. So I designed this myself on Canva, super easy to do. So something you definitely want to consider doing so that you can tell your story and convey the brand that you want out there. There's also opinions on the banner, the open to work. Some people like it, some people don't. Recruiters are going to find you even if you don't have that open to work, as long as you say you're looking for a job on the back end. What the open to work does is it lets everyone else in your network know, and everyone who finds you on LinkedIn know that you're available. So definitely take advantage of the open to work. It's not an embarrassment. It's nothing to be desperate about or feel shy about. I think it just gives more eyeballs to the fact that you are out there and you're looking for opportunities. Any questions so far? Okay, I'll move on. Another way that you can increase your visibility on LinkedIn is you can create articles. So maybe you feel like you're not too open or ready to post a video, and that's totally fine. I will tell you that videos get 12 times more views than an article. People are busy, they're on the go, they're scrolling through their phone. So if you have a video, the chances are greater that you're going to reach your audience. Whether you have, like Griselda, a small business owner who is trying to increase her presence or pivot to something else, um, the fact that you can reach your audience either as a small business owner or as a job seeker by doing these things. The first item on the left is an article, and this is something I put together again using Canva. This was a very short article for self-care, and I put it out there. The one on the right was a post, it was a video. So again, the more that you can interact with LinkedIn and the platform, the greater your visibility is going to be. Okay, talking about enhancing your skills and certifications, you want to research what skills are most valued in the target industry that you're looking to get into. Do you need a PMP, project management certification for the role? Can you get hired at a higher rate if you do get that certification? If you're in HR, are you certified as a SHRM certification or a compensation certification? So these are all things you want to make sure that you're aware of. Identify those in-demand skills and make sure that you have them. If you don't have them, focus on your online learning. And you can do that using things like LinkedIn Learning, which is free if you're a premium member. You can use Coursera, Udemy. Those are two other options for you to acquire certifications. And professional development, you also want to focus on that during this time that you're in transition. If there's workshops, again, that we talked about, webinars, you want to look at those certifications that are going to make you competitive in the industry that you are trying to target. And lastly, once you get those certifications, you want to make sure that you highlight those, put them in your resume, make sure that LinkedIn knows about it and that you share that with your network. So all of these things are creating that brand, right? They're making you more visible. They're giving you that audience so that you can tell your story. And then here's just an example of a certification that you'll see once you go through LinkedIn and you do your certification. This will be put in your LinkedIn, and you can display it. You can take a copy of it. If you could even put together a slideshow of the things that you've gotten certified in and make that a post. Hey, I've been working on my storytelling certification. I've got this, or I've done a course on artificial intelligence, or whatever it is. But the main thing is to enhance your skills and the certifications, because those are quicker wins that you can do throughout this time that you're looking, versus doing something like working on another degree, which is totally fine. You can do that as well. But these are things that are quick, right? That you can kind of knock out in a few hours or, a week or so. So when you're out there trying to find a role, you want to make sure that you partner with recruiters. You can connect with them through different ways, either sending emails to a recruiter let's say you're looking to work at Baylor, Scott and White. You can do a search on LinkedIn for Baylor, Scott and White. You can find folks that have the recruiter title. You can find folks that have the title that you are looking to fulfill, and you can send them a note. Send them a note through LinkedIn. Or if you already have a recruiter's name, maybe you met them at a job fair and you have their email directly, you can send them an email along with your resume, letting them know that you are on the market for a potential opportunity. And again, you can word that using ChatGPT or using your own words, send out a note to that recruiter, letting them know. There's also many staffing agencies now who you can sign up for. Consider doing a temporary role. If you're not able to find a full-time job at this point, you can look at maybe a contract role. And some of those honestly are great because you can try out the company, you can learn about the culture and the people and how things are done, and you can see, is this really the place that I want to land and make my next home? And a lot of companies are actually using those contract roles to evaluate their candidates as well, to see if they do want to invest in hiring you full time. So consider temporary roles because they can lead to a permanent opportunity. So preparing for interviews, I think this is going to be probably one of the most important things is preparing for that interview. You've got your LinkedIn profile together, you've reached out to the recruiter, you've done your networking, now you're ready for that interview. So what should you know? At a minimum, you should know who is interviewing you. And what you want to do is you want to find out everything you can about this person. You want to research using LinkedIn, do a Google search on the person, check out the company website. If it's a small company and they're a big fish in a small company, you should be able to find out things about them there. Take notes on what you find out about this person because that is going to help you figure out a little bit about them, and that'll help you as you're in the interview. So as much as you can, you should learn, who is interviewing you. This is like for your hiring managers. Once you've met with the recruiter, ask the recruiter. They may know who is interviewing you. They may even be in the same city and can give you some pointers. Like this person's been with the company for 10 years. They're loved and valued, and or they just took on this role and they're looking to build out their team. Whatever it is. When you look at their LinkedIn, look for those affinity points. Did they go to the same school that you did? Look at the roles that they've taken on. What do they highlight in their LinkedIn profile? Because they're highlighting their accomplishments. So these are things that are important to them. And you can use that as you start to figure out your talk track and what's important to this person is something that you want to make sure you highlight in your conversations with them. So that's the first part with interviewing. The second is going to be the types of interview questions that you get. Those are going to be behavioral questions. Typically, an interview is going to say, tell me about a time when you resolved conflict, or tell me about a time that you used your influence to achieve a positive outcome with a business objective. You want to make sure that you practice your interview in front of a mirror. You want to research the company. What are their values? What is their mission? What's the culture like? You can learn a lot from looking at their website. You can learn even more by looking at their annual report. and seeing what they've done. What are some new announcements that they've made? Did they acquire someone? Did they implement a new supply chain system? All of those important things that are impacting the corporation are going to be in their annual report. If they're private, obviously it's going to be a little bit different, right? You may not have as much access to that information. So your star stories, you'll be asked about your star stories. The star is what was the situation that you encountered? What was the task that you had to accomplish? What actions did you take? And then what were the results? And when you do this, you want to videotape yourself, similar to what we're doing here, because you want to go back and watch your performance, right? How do you come across? Are you confident? Are there certain parts that are not as tied together that you need to work on? You want to research the current news for that company. And then after the interview, you want to reaffirm your interest in the role and follow up with them with a thank you note. The other thing is, if you find that you're wordy, there was I believe it was Alexia that said she likes to talk. So your star stories are going to probably be a rat's tails. And so what that does is it's going to keep you focused. Rats is really stars backwards, and you're going to start with the result first. Like, I was able to increase sales by 10%. By following up with my customers as soon as the call was over, sending them some marketing information, the task that I did, and then the situation was that we were lagging in our sales in the North American market. So by starting with your results first, you can keep yourself focused. So again, depending on whether you can stay to the star or whether you tend to kind of go on and you want to start with the result first, because that's the most important piece for that person who's interviewing you is, what did you do? What was the outcome? Whether you start as a star or rats, you want to write them down. You want to sit down and physically put them in your own words. Look at the bullets on your resume, and for each of the bullets, write down a story. Practice with a friend, a coach, a mentor. And then again, after the interview, you want to follow up. If you haven't heard, always send your thank you note right away. I try to do it the same day of the interview, or that at the very latest the next morning, so that it's the first thing they see when they come in. And then hopefully you'll hear back from them. But if you don't hear anything, follow up in a week. You want to record yourself. So there is on your phone, whether you have an iPhone or an Android, there's a voice memo option that is there. And what that does is, when you create your star stories, you want to list them out. So I don't think my phone will come across, but if it does, you'll see, let's see if I can show you. I've got like collaboration example. I have a time when an example of talking with senior leadership, an example of how I led a project and implemented conflict resolution. So you want to record yourself saying these things after you've written your stories, record it. And the reason you want to record it is because it'll allow you to multitask when you're busy, either driving to the interview if it's in person, or whether you're, prepping for the interview and you're doing your housework, you're doing other things, laundry, whatever. You can listen to it and you can hear yourself talking about your star story and what you've done. So it eliminates you having to have a piece of paper, and it also helps you to practice and refine that talk track. One of the things that you need to know when you go into your interview is that you'll have a list of questions that you want to ask the interviewer, and you want to make sure that it's a two-way conversation so that it's not, so Isabel, tell me about yourself. And then the interviewer is quiet, and then Isabel says her talk track, and then, so give me an example of whatever questions Isabel has. She wants to make sure she sprinkles them in to that conversation so that it's kind of a back and forth. It's not it's not, there's no lag, and it's not just her being bombarded by the interviewer. She's also asking questions so that she knows, is this the place I want to come into? And is this a place I want to take my career next? Sorry, that was loud. Um, so lastly, just some key takeaways from the presentation is really, you want to tailor your resume and your online profile to attract recruiters. You want to prepare for the interview. Again, do your research, prepare your talk track, rehearse it, record it, refine it, speak with confidence, and continue to follow up with those interviewers and those recruiters. And then network, network, network. If there's anywhere that I would say that you want to focus the majority of your time on, it's on the networking piece. Again, remember 85% of jobs are found through networking, and 70% are never even listed and advertised anywhere. And it may seem silly, but there are so many people that you can network with, whether it's your previous coworkers at your prior job, your neighbors, when you go to the doctor, when you're making appointments, your friends, teachers, if you have kids, the parents of the kids, the friends. When you go to a restaurant, anyone and everyone, you just never know. I'll tell you, I was at the fair on Sunday, and I was walking by, I saw a booth. I like this particular product. And as I looked up, it was a lady that I used to know when I worked at JP Morgan. And in conversations with her, I let her know that I had been laid off. And she said, well, what do you do and what are you looking for? And I told her I'm in HR, I'm trying to stay in the financial industry. And she said, look at Bank of America. My son works there. So it's like completely random, never even thought at the state fair I would find a lead. And yet there it was. So always be ready to tell people what you're looking for. And then lastly, just remember that the job search process can be long. Um, you need to be patient, you need to work hard, but you need to remember to take breaks and give yourself some grace. And the beauty of this is that, no one is giving you a blanket script that says like, this is like the only way, this is gonna work. If it doesn't work, try something else. Um, that's the great thing is if you're doing something and you're like, that's not really working for me, that's okay. Find something else and try it. And it's you're the CEO of your own career. So you don't have to go get this approved anywhere. You can just change it to work for you. And just know that you will land. Eventually you will land. So um, the last item I've got is I've got a list of resources to share with you, and I'll send this deck out to Kyla so she can share with you all.
That's great.
There are some resources for networking that you may already be aware of. Dallas is a great area for folks that are looking for jobs because we really have lots of opportunities to network and to connect with others. You'll see their South Lake Focus Group meets every Thursday. They have an in-person event. I'm a volunteer for South Lake Focus Group. They also have a Zoom call. So if you can't make it, you can join online, and it's at 8 o'clock every Thursday. It's depending on where you live in the Metroplex, right? It may be a drive, but I promise you it's well worth it. I don't live anywhere near South Lake and I make the trip there. You get a lot out of it. It gets you in front of people. You don't know who you're going to meet. So it's just a great opportunity. Frisco Connect also meets the first Tuesday of every month. So check them out. And then once you're ready to practice all of your interviewing, there's the Dallas Pit Crew. They meet in Plano, and you can find their information from that link there. We talked a little bit about what you can use for your resumes and your cover letters. I'm a big fan of Teal, Chat GPT. I'm so happy to hear that everyone's using that on the call. So that's great. And JobScan. JobScan is free as well. And JobScan also has an AI component that lets you tailor your resume to the job description. Finally, business cards are not that expensive, and you can create a business card with your QR code for LinkedIn and your contact information. Those are great when you're networking with people face to face, or if you're going to a job fair. Sometimes the recruiters will take a business card from you if let's say you run out of your resumes and you don't have anything else to hand out. Yes, they can go find you on LinkedIn, but if you give them the QR code and you connect right there, it's perfect. Personalized banners, we looked at the banner earlier. Canva has a free option. If you need to create a portfolio or your website or to showcase your work, Canva is also available for that. And then we talked about research. So here in the Dallas area, we have really great libraries. However, if you want, you can go out to Houston. The Houston Public Library also lets you sign up as long as you're a Texas resident. You don't have to pay for anything, and you'll have access to the Dallas Business Journal. You'll have access to all of their different businesses, to research companies. I believe it's called Gale. And then you will also have access to videos and, just so much more audiobooks if you're looking for things to learn about and specialize in. So all of these things are free for you as a job seeker. And then lastly, I would just say that, you want to help one person every day. That's part of what I've learned at the South Lake Focus Group. So none of us does this alone. And the more that you can kind of share your experiences, your knowledge with others, the more that it helps you as well. So, and that is it. I've got my information there. If I can answer anything or help with anything, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm more than happy to do so.
So, Rock, we did have a question over in the chat about the how can we do the professional online portfolio?
Oh, that's a great question. So I can share. Let me stop. You can use Canva to do your portfolio. And I can share with you an example of a portfolio. Let me bring it up. Let me share. Okay. Can y'all see? Are you seeing Ariel G?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So Ariel does marketing for HubSpot, and she's got a pretty awesome portfolio. So she's used Canva, and she's put this together, talking about her experience. She's got some links in here. You click on the portfolio, and you can see examples of what she's done. So she's got her written works. She's got information on the campaigns that she's put together. and then examples of her social media management. So by using Canva, you can just highlight the things that you've worked on either at prior companies or things that you've done as a consultant or as a contract person. And you can put this together to show, your capabilities.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Does anyone else have any other questions for Rock?
I have a quick question. So recently I interviewed with Deloitte for an executive coordinator position, and the interview process is pretty fast paced and like short. I think it involved an audio recorded interview, like with they just post questions and then you record yourself answering them. And then the final interview was an actual, well, virtual, but in-person conversation with two of their managers. I liked the tip of incorporating questions into your answers, but with companies, at least in my experience from this interview, it didn't seem like that's what they were looking for. Like they just wanted answers to go, and they had like 30-minute block, 30-minute hit, and it was like, great, thanks, bye.
Right.
So I'm curious, like in that situation, is it best to include the questions, not? Because
I think that's,
make it longer.
yeah, I would say that that's a big, that's a big company. I can totally see why they would be like kind of going through the process in a fast way. But you can always ask them in certain ways, right? When you ask them about you know, can you tell me why this position is open? You can put them in there. It's like, tell me about yourself. And then, well, this is what I've done in the past. What was the role for?
It was an executive coordinator role.
Okay. So, and I don't know what that does, but you could, as you've given them your example of your background, you could say, can you tell me why this executive coordinator role is open? Are you growing? Is this to fill someone who's moved on? You can ask those questions throughout because it lends itself to the conversation.
Right.
And I would always ask at the end of that interview, I would say, I know we're on a tight deadline, but I do have some questions. Who can I send those to? I would assume the sale. I wouldn't ask, can I send the question? No, I would just assume, who's the best person to send these questions to? Joe, do I send them to you? Or, they might tell you, send them to the recruiter because we're still in the interviewing stages. And so, Susie, the recruiter, can collect all of those for me and then I'll get back with you.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet.
Okay, anyone else? All right, well, we are right at 1, teeny bit after. So Rock, I want to thank you so much. That was great information. I was quickly taking notes and texting my junior in college, letting him know some of the information that you gave. So thank you, yes, for sharing. That was
You
wonderful.
bet.
And
yes, I hope that was helpful.
yes, thank you. And if you would share with me that one screen with the resources, then I can send it out to everyone.
Yes, I will. I'll send that over to you.
Thank you.
And
I was about to ask for it. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, definitely. I'll get that over to Kyla. So
yeah.
And like I said, my information's on there. So connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to help and answer anything. So.
Yes, all connections help. I know I've learned through all my meetings and things. Connections.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and I apologize. I was wiggling around a bit. I was trying to with my knee surgery. I'm not very comfortable, so I apologize if my camera was all over the place.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Thank you so much.
All right. Again, thank you so much. And Tracy will be in touch with all of you as well.
Thank you. You have a blessed one.
Thank you.
Yes, everyone have a blessed
Thank
week.
you. Make sure you eat well fast.